Welcome to the Deep Dive, the knowledge shortcut designed, well, just for you. Today, we're digging into the research stack on the psychology of altruism. And specifically, we're wrestling with that age-old question. Can any act truly be selfless? Let's start with a story, a really powerful one. Ontario, 2016. A fair. Suddenly, ponies start stampeding, right towards a 3-year-old girl, Riley Villeneuve. Chaos. But one man, Calvin Stein, runs towards the manger. He manages to toss the child clear just in time.
But he gets critically injured himself. Severe brain injury, permanent vision issues. I mean, a devastating cost. And when asked why, he just said, there's no way I could have stood at my trailer and watched somebody get hurt and not do nothing.
Wow. So the action, what he did, is crystal clear. It saved her life.
Exactly. And that's what we call behavioral altruism. His action definitely reduced his own fitness, his well-being, and massively increased hers. That part's undeniable. But the real puzzle, the focus of this deep dive, is the why, the unseen motive of psychological altruism.
Yeah.
Was his ultimate goal genuinely Riley's well-being for her own sake? Or was there some, internal driver for himself mixed in there?
Right. So not just what he did, but what he was ultimately aiming for inside his own head. Which brings us straight to the big counter-argument. Psychological egoism, that's the idea, isn't it? That everything we do, even heroic acts, is ultimately self-serving, like maybe avoiding guilt or seeking that inner pat on the back.
Precisely. And behavioral economics actually gives us a pretty neat egoistic model here. It's called warm glow giving. James Andreoni talked about impure altruism, and researchers like Crumpler and Grossman actually tested this.
How did they do that?
Well, they set up an experiment where participants could donate some money. But here's the catch. Their donation was designed to crowd out money the experimenter would have given anyway. So the charity's total pot didn't increase because of their specific donation.
Wait, so giving the money literally did nothing extra for the charity itself?
Correct. The net benefit to the recipient was zero in that condition. And yet, people still gave about 20% of their endowment. The argument is the only reason left to give was the personal, maybe self-serving, warm glow feeling they got from the act of donating. It supports the egoist view, you see.
Okay, I get that. But if it's all just self-interest, why would helpful behaviors like Stein's even evolve? It seems costly. This is where we have to bring in the evolutionary angle, right? The selfish gene perspective.
Absolutely. Evolution finds clever ways. For relatives, it's kin selection. Helping family helps your shared genes survive. You know J.B.S. Haldane's famous quip, he supposedly said he'd lay down his life for 2 brothers or 8 cousins. That's Hamilton's rule in action, basically. 3D BC top.
Okay, so family makes sense genetically. What about strangers? Friends?
That's where reciprocal altruism comes in. The idea of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. An expectation of future help. We see it in human friendships, trust, but also in other species like vampire bats sharing blood meals. It's about mutual benefit down the line.
But these still sound kind of self-interested, ultimately saving genes, expecting payback. Is there any argument for pure psychological altruism, one that isn't just disguised egoism?
Well, yes. That's C. Daniel Batson's life work, essentially. His Empathy-Altruism Hypothesis, or EAH. Batson argues that feeling genuine empathic concern for someone else, really feeling their distress, can trigger a truly altruistic motivation, an ultimate desire to help them, just for their sake.
And he tested this how?
With a really clever setup called the easy escape design. Imagine you're watching someone, let's call her Elaine, seemingly receive painful electric shocks. You feel distressed watching this. Now, the egoistic prediction is, if you're given an easy way out, an easy escape where you can just leave and stop watching, you'll take it. Why? Because your goal is to stop your own distress.
Makes sense from an egoist view. Just get rid of the bad feeling.
But that's not what Batson found consistently. Participants who reported feeling high empathy for Elaine helped her at a very high rate. And crucially, they helped whether escaping was easy or difficult. They didn't just take the easy way out to feel better themselves.
So they stuck around to help Elaine even when they could have just left.
Exactly, which strongly suggests their ultimate goal wasn't just managing their own anxiety, but actually reducing Elaine's suffering. That's the core evidence for the EAH.
Okay, so pulling this all together, where does this leave us? It sounds like it's not as simple either between pure selfishness and pure selflessness.
That seems to be the most sensible conclusion. Motivational pluralism. Most actions are likely a mix of motives. Maybe impure altruism is the norm. Trying to find an act with absolutely zero self-benefit is probably impossible, neurologically speaking. Helping others, achieving goals, it feels rewarding. Our brains are wired that way.
So the real question isn't, did I get anything out of it? But
what was the ultimate goal? Was the primary driver the other person's welfare, even if feeling good came along for the ride? The evidence suggests, yes, that can be the primary driver. And interestingly, neuroscience offers some support here. Studies on extraordinary altruists, like people who donate a kidney to a stranger, find they often have enhanced volume and, crucially, heightened response in the right amygdala.
The amygdala, isn't that usually associated with fear?
It is, especially fear and distress perception. So it's not that these altruists are less fearful, they might actually be more sensitive to seeing distress in others. It suggests altruism might be linked to this really sensitive social responsiveness, maybe even co-opting ancient brain circuits originally built for parental care. Caring for offspring is deep-seated.
So perhaps the takeaway for you isn't about finding that mythical, purely selfless act, which might not even exist in a strict sense. Maybe it's realizing that our motivations are complex, a blend, but within that blend, the desire for another's well-being can genuinely be the driving force.
Right. And the very fact that we've debated this for centuries, that we care about whether true altruism exists, that itself says something profound about human nature. Concern for others, whatever its ultimate root, is clearly central to who we are. The ideal itself matters.